Hardline conservatives rebelled against Republican Kevin McCarthy on Tuesday, blocking his bid to become Speaker of the U.S. House of Representatives in 3 consecutive votes, leaving the new Republican majority in turmoil.
The Honorable Hakeem Jeffries of the state of New York has received 212.
It's an embarrassing beginning to what could prove to be a brutal showdown between hardliners and the overwhelming majority of House Republicans. McCarthy fell short of the 218 vote majority needed to succeed Democrat Nancy Pelosi as Speaker in each of the 3 votes. It was the first time in a century that the House failed to elect a Speaker on the first vote. House Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries outran McCarthy in all 3 rounds with 212 votes. McCarthy showed no sign of withdrawing from the contest after the second ballot. He had served as the House Minority Leader and sought to become Speaker, a position second in the line of succession to the U.S. presidency, only to draw strong opposition from his party's right flank. McCarthy's hardline opponents are concerned that he is less deeply invested in the culture wars and partisan rivalries that have dominated the House, and even more so since Trump's White House years. Lawmaker Matt Gaetz voted to block McCarthy's bid for Speaker.
We offered Kevin McCarthy terms last evening that he rejected. We sought a vote in the first quarter of the 118th Congress on term limits. He refused. We wanted a budget from the Republican Study Committee that balances on the floor in the first quarter. He refused. We wanted the border plan that the Texas delegation put together on the floor. He refused. And it is true that we struggle with trust with Mr. McCarthy.
McCarthy countered that the holdouts were pushing personal agendas.
Matt Gaetz said, I don't care if we go to plurality and we elect Hakeem Jeffries and it hurts the new frontline members not to get reelected. Well, that's not about America, and I will always fight to put the American people first, not a few individuals that want something for themselves. So we may have a battle on the floor, but the battle is for the conference and the country, and that's fine with me.
A protracted Speaker election could undermine House Republican hopes of moving forward quickly on priorities, including investigations of President Joe Biden's administration and family, as well as legislative priorities involving the economy, U.S. energy independence, and border security. A standoff would leave the House largely paralyzed and could force lawmakers to consider another candidate. Trump ally and co-founder of the House Freedom Caucus, Jim Jordan, was put forward by Matt Gaetz and earned 20 votes in Tuesday's final round. Republicans won a narrow 222 to 212 majority in November's midterm election, meaning that McCarthy or any candidate for Speaker will need to unify a fractious caucus to win the gavel. Democrats hold a slim majority in the Senate. Abortion pills will be allowed to be sold in U.S. retail pharmacies after a regulatory change from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. The changes announced Tuesday could potentially expand abortion access, even as more U.S. states seek to ban terminations. Pharmacies can start applying for approval to distribute mifepristone with one of the 2 companies that make it. If they receive certification, the retailer can dispense it directly to patients after receiving a prescription. Restrictions on the mail-order shipping of the pills and their prescription through telehealth have also been permanently removed. Abortion bans, some targeting mifepristone, have gone into effect in more than a dozen states since last year, after the U.S. Supreme Court overturned the constitutional right to terminating pregnancies, when it scrapped the 1973 Roe v. Wade ruling. The latest FDA changes were met by polarizing views from both sides of the debate. Abortion rights activists say the pill is safe and effective and is already available without prescription in several other countries. Planned Parenthood said the changes were a step in the right direction. Anti-abortion group SBA Pro-Life America said the move endangers women's safety and the lives of unborn children. Retail pharmacies will have to weigh where they can offer the pill and whether or not to do so given the political controversy. Mexico has flown 200 military personnel to the U.S. border city of Ciudad Juarez to fight organized crime there, days after a deadly prison riot and while a manhunt is underway for escaped convicts. That's according to the Defense Ministry on Tuesday. That's hours after the director of the prison, which saw guards and prisoners killed in a riot and breakout on New Year's Day, was fired. Chihuahua state prosecutors said Tuesday Alejandro Alvarado was not only dismissed, but he and others are under investigation for a possible role in the jailbreak. 19 people died on Sunday after gunmen attacked the prison a few miles south of the U.S. border. They killed guards and inmates and triggered a mass escape that included cartel kingpin Ernesto Alfredo Pinon de la Cruz, also known as El Neto. After federal authorities arrived to restore order, they found a so-called VIP zone in the prison full of drugs and cash. On Tuesday, families of inmates lined up, hoping to speak with authorities.
Vengo a preguntar por mi sobrino.
I came here to ask for my nephew. Nobody has informed us about them so far. We don't know how they are, anything. We are worried. We want to know about our relatives, get them to talk to us about them, where they are, if they're good. We just want to know if they're okay or what's happening.
Está bien, nomás queremos saber si está bien o ¿verdad? ¿Qué está pasando?
On Monday night, the Chihuahua state government said 7 people had died during subsequent police clashes as part of a hunt to find the escaped inmates. 2 of the dead were police. Sunday's events mark one of the highest death tolls from prison violence in Mexico in recent memory.
Actor Jeremy Renner shared the first photo of himself on a hospital bed on Tuesday with bruises and oxygen tubes in his nose. Renner, best known for playing Hawkeye in the Marvel Avengers movie, is recovering after being run over by a snowplow that weighed 14,000 pounds. His publicist said he suffered blunt chest trauma and orthopedic injuries and was in critical but stable condition. Law enforcement in Washoe County, Nevada, where he owns a home, don't suspect foul play. They say Renner tried to dig out his car on New Year's Day when the accident happened.
After successfully towing his personal vehicle from its stuck location, Mr. Renner got out of his piston bully to speak to his family member. At this point, it was observed that the piston bully started to roll. In an effort to stop the rolling piston bully, Mr. Renner attempts to get back into the driver's seat of the piston bully. Based on our investigation, it's at this point that Mr. Renner is run over by the piston bully. It has a park, and so like we would because of this having such severe injuries, we want to make sure that with that mechanical machine that was there any mechanical failure, had he put in park, whatever.
The 51-year-old actor was treated in a hospital in Nevada, the area he's lived for years, which was hit by a severe snowstorm over the weekend. Renner was nominated for an Academy Award for his 2008 film The Hurt Locker. He's gone on to star in several Marvel projects, 2 Mission Impossible films, Arrival and American Hustle, among others.
Burkina Faso's junta has requested the departure of France's ambassador, the French Foreign Ministry has said. That apparent expulsion, said to have been requested in a letter sent last month, signals a further deterioration in relations between the West African country and its former colonial ruler. On Tuesday, a French Foreign Ministry spokeswoman confirmed receipt of the letter. She described the move as not standard practice and declined to give further details. The Burkinabe government declined to officially comment. France has maintained strong ties with Burkina Faso, where it has special forces stationed. But protests by opponents of the French military presence surged over the past year. That was partly due to perceptions that France has not done enough to tackle militants in the Sahel region. Prolonged insecurity has led to political instability. Burkina Faso witnessed coups in January and September last year. The second coup saw angry mobs targeting French institutions. Protesters demanded France leave the country and called for authorities to turn to Russia for help in fighting militants, as has happened in neighbouring Mali. In late December, Burkinabe authorities ordered senior UN official Barbara Manzi to leave the country, accusing her of painting a negative picture of the country's security situation.